agreeing to be interviewed. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. And I wanted it to be a podcast, but I was kind of back and forth on how do I develop a podcast. And Nafi said, "Oh, YouTube has a podcast platform." I was like, "Really? Great!" So yes. So thank you so very much for joining me today at Bahia Movement Zoom Corner. That's what I'm calling it. And what I've been doing is interviewing different people in the community around queer and plus size artists in the industry. And you can speak on the plus size part if you want, or we can just focus on the queer. I don't know. I've also been asking people that are not queer and that are not plus size if what they have experienced or have seen, and how do they feel about the industry right now compared to the industry maybe even 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And if you think that the industry is changing to where it's allowing more inclusive, togetherness with those two areas that are very, very prominent now in the industry. For example, you've seen a lot of transgenders on TV. You've seen a lot of more queerness in the industry on, commercials and different things of that nature. You're seeing more plus size bodies like in the advertisements, Target, Macy's, different things of that nature, in the magazines and like the clothing magazines. So a lot of the artists now, Beyonce, Janet Jackson, so on and so forth, they're offering or inviting plus size dancers on stage. So a lot of queer dancers too on stage. Madonna was the first person that definitely brought that out with the Vogue. So yeah, and then we just have to come back to our communities and seeing how people touching base with the people in our community to see how people like yourself, how you show up in your community as a queer artist. So my name is Afia Thompson. I have Maya Mohsin. Mohsin, I'm sorry.
No worries.
With us today. And would you like to tell us about yourself, a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a dancer, performing artist, choreographer based out of Oakland. I grew up in the Bay Area, went to school here, and now I'm creating work and dancing in different projects. The work that I make is theatrical, combined with dancing, and it centers usually around queer narratives and queer stories. And so that is a little bit about me.
Excellent, excellent. And so as a queer person of color, have you experienced any difficulties in the industry relating to how you identify and how you show up as a queer dancer?
I would say not so much. I think because I'm in a place that's super accepting of queer people and celebrates that a lot, that in general, when I go to different spaces or I apply to different things, thus far I haven't run into anybody discriminating against my identity or kind of shunning me for it, which I'm thankful for, because I think even just in different parts of the country or different parts of the state, it could be very different. But in the place where I am, it's generally been accepting. Everybody's been like me, um, which I'm really grateful for.
Yes. I know that definitely in the Bay Area, because we have like the Castro, and because of what happened during the 1960s, and, Harvey Milk and just all of that, So San Francisco and the Bay Area, we have like the hippie town and Berkeley, and, just being really all inclusive. It's very a liberal state,
Mm.
even though it sometimes can, go either way. I always enjoyed being from California, especially Northern California, because of those types of walks or movements that happened prior to where we are now, that allowed a lot of doors opening for people of color, for queerness, and just allowing people to be themselves. I know that a lot of the organizations now, especially here in the Bay, they're really more along the lines of BIPOC and LGBT, so a lot of people are very acceptant. Like you said, though, if you were to go outside of the Bay Area, it may be extremely different, so in different ways of how they're showing up in other countries or other cities and states, for that matter. So yeah. Um, with that said, thank you very much. With that said, how do you feel that your art is being accepted um, amongst the masses, or is it just being accepted within your own kind of community that you have built or that you're building? Um, and because I think you said that your art is more theatrical, so it may be a little bit different than what is typically viewed or seen. Not sure, but yeah, do you feel like it's accepted in the arena that you're trying to create?
Mm. Right now, yes. I think especially in like my immediate community, like queer friends, BIPOC friends, it's being accepted because they know me, because it also speaks to them. Um, I think in like the general masses, maybe people who aren't queer, who aren't BIPOC, right now it's also being accepted, but I don't know necessarily that they understand it on a deeper level
Mhm.
as my queer friends. And the art that I intend to make in the future will be a little bit more like direct about queerness. And so I'm actually not sure how it will be received. I think it might be a little like I don't know if controversial is the right word, but I'm curious to see how future art will be kind of accepted as it becomes a little bit more direct and theatrical with like use of text.
Mhm.
Um, because I think that those who aren't in the queer community or BIPOC community either might not get it or might have questions. So it's kind of up in the air right now, but I'm anticipating maybe some back and forth.
Yes, no, I totally understand that. And I have a question regarding that, because you
Yeah.
said that right now is not as direct. Why is that? Why is it that your art is not as direct and that you can see it moving to more of a direct stance? And the reason why I'm asking that is because when Nafi and I came out and we started building art, it was around us being Black, and it was
Mm.
around, and it was really direct. It was, and a lot of people would say, you guys make heavy work, you make heavy work. And
Mm.
we didn't see it as heavy. We saw it as, this is what we need to express and put out, because this is what we're feeling, right? And
Mm.
it was around, being Black in America. It was around being without a father, even though I was raised with a father, but most Black like families are not, they're fatherless.
Mm.
It was around runaways, being like, exiled because of being queer or not fitting in, or, so then you get into like drugs and sex trafficking and all of that. And they really don't talk about that really for Black people or people of color, white people all the time, right? Um, so yes, it was about me being plus size and being ostracized and othered because of my weight, especially coming from the 80s,
Mm.
so it's very interesting that how we take our approach when we start to build our work. It feels like to me from what I'm, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that you're probably like slowly, gradually getting into it
Mhm.
versus us, we just like, bam, here it is. Whether you like it or not, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is it. Right. So
Right.
talk to me about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're pretty much spot on. It's kind of like slow, or it was slow at first. Like the work that I've most recently created, it was a little bit more to kind of get into like movement style and process. And now that I've started to kind of create a little bit of more of dance, now I've begun to delve a little deeper about what I really want to make dance about. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why it kind of making my way towards making more like direct work that's about like this specific thing and it expresses this specific topic about queerness or whatnot. And so I think that's why I say that it's the work that I most have created is not as direct, and I'm kind of going in that uh, going in that direction, um, because I started to kind of figure out, become a little bit more clear on what I do want to make. Um, and so now I think I'm going in that direction of, this is my work, this is what it's going to be. And like you said, it might be dark, or it might be heavy, but it's starting to come out a little bit.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. It was just very interesting, or it is extremely interesting, the path of how people make art, like
Mm,
where they start, how they start creating and thinking about art, and if they, because some people totally disconnect from their feelings when they make art.
mm,
They really kind of just want to make art that's gonna, and which is not a problem. I'm not hating on any of that. Those that want to be where I just want to make happy art. I want to make this, you know, art that makes you feel good, in which I totally get that, because it isn't like we haven't done that. But also, I know for me, being an activist and kind of like falling into that activism, because of the color of my skin, it was hard for me to just always make happy art. you
mm,
know,
right.
even yeah. So even with my poet friends, I noticed that they kind of disconnected their color, disconnected their queerness. They just made just, floof. I say like fluff art. Um, and I just was never that type of person. I just always felt like I have to speak against rights and people's rights and supporting people and making sure that everybody is included, and if somebody is being done wrong, I don't know. I've always, and maybe it's the mother in me, because I want everybody to have a fair, opportunity,
Mm,
so I totally it just kind of is interesting to me when I look at art making and how people make art and their thought process around it.
mm,
So yeah. Um,
mm,
I have another question. Let me get
mm.
okay. So uh, what advice would you provide to emerging young queer artists that's not sure how to show up as not sure how to show up just yet as an artist?
Mm. Good question. I think I tell them that it's okay to take their time to figure it out. They might feel pressure to just show up already and be something, or like be out, be queer and like be proud of that. but I feel like it's okay for them to take their time figuring out who they are, what they really want, and not feeling the pressure from, or like any external pressure to speed that process, because they might eventually realize that they don't know why they're still going. They might go into a false path. And so really take that time, find a community, find people that they believe in and that they're inspired by, you know, like I want to be like that person, or I'm inspired by how they show up. That's the advice I would give, and to just let it, not try to force it, and just let it come naturally, but still believe that there is a spot and a place for them.
Yes, be authentic.
You know?
Yeah, to be just unapologetically who you are, and allow time to develop that character that's within you, you know, because we are characters. You know, we definitely are, and our character morphs, you know, as we get older. It shape shifts, I think. So that's I totally can relate to that. I have a question. It was very interesting as a bisexual person. It was very interesting for people to tell me, "Oh, you're not queer enough." And to me, I'm like, I'm bisexual, one, but two, what does that mean? How, who has defined level of queerness? I didn't even know that it was, you know, like tiers of queerness. So I would say, like, my girlfriends would be, their friends would say, "Oh, you're dating one of those wannabe queer people. There, she's not queer. She's, you know," and that would just blow my mind. So have that ever been said to you, or have you ever heard others say that to someone else? And how do you feel about that? Do you think that there's a level of queerness? You know, because for me, it's really hard, again, being a Black woman, to be placed, labels being placed on me, right? Because also people would say, "Oh, I didn't even know that you was queer. You don't look queer." Like, wait. How does queer? I don't understand. Like, why can't I just show up and be like me, right? So, how do you feel, if you have any view on that?
Yeah, I have heard that before, even from an ex, as I identify as lesbian, and this ex I had, she was like, what did she say? It was such a weird statement. She said something like, you're too pretty to be gay, or like you seem like too feminine to be like a lesbian. And it kind of stuck with me. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm hearing this from someone that I dated, and I mean, there are many issues, so that was only one thing, but it still, again, like you said, like blew my mind. Like, why is that? And there's something about having to like prove yourself. Like, I've definitely felt that, you know, of like, I am queer. Like, how do I let the world know?
And why should I have to let the world know, right?
Right.
Why do I have to? Who are you to make me feel like I have to prove myself? And that's one of the things that I felt like was so kind of oxymoronish, kind of, because queers don't want to be labeled, queers want to be accepted for being who they are, and then they turn around and do that shit, right? Then they turn around and say, "But you're not queer enough," and like, you're doing exactly the same thing that you're asking for people to not do to you.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's like this cycle that queer people find themselves in, and we don't realize that it's not changing anything for straight people or people who go against us. Like, it's just keeping this
Mhm.
weird, um, like I'm better
Like
than
bullying.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bully mentality, right?
Mm,
I was done wrong. I don't know any other way. So consciously and maybe subconsciously or unconscious, however you say that, I'm gonna just do it, right? And I have to admit I've done that on weight, like even
mm,
putting that stigmatism on Nafi, not even wanting to do it, knowing that me doing that to her felt so wrong and I shouldn't do it, but it was just I've been told all my life, you're big, you're big, you're big, you're big. So it was
mm,
like a second hand thing to start trying to do that to her. And I had to like tell myself that's not right.
mm,
And I felt so bad when I did it. So it is like a cycle, it's a vicious cycle. And I just wanted to know how people felt about that because yeah, I really do. I just really feel like, let me tell you,
mm,
I applied to a queer organization for funding and
mm.
they denied me because they said that I wasn't queer enough. My company was not queer enough. It didn't
Wow.
blast on the websites that we're queer. We didn't post on the websites who all we served that was queer. It just was not out in the open. And I said that. I said, I'm not trying to put us on Front Street. But after I got denied, that's one of the reasons why I went on and did the queer space
Mm,
for Believe in Self. It was because of that. I was like, that's so jacked up. So now you're
yeah.
forcing me, right, to change
Mhm,
one of my programs to say, look, I'm telling you, we in which we were already servicing queer folks. But because I didn't put this person's queer, this person's not, this person's like, why should I do that? I just felt like that was just so jacked up. So I just
mhm,
wanted to know how you felt about that and if you've experienced. That's one of the other, even
mm,
though, you know, people don't realize that you are being othered. You are
mm.
being, pointed out as an somebody that doesn't fit into what we consider,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Mhm,
So that is as an artist, even though it wasn't directly related to your art, but you are an artist and you experience that. So in a way, it affects you. I know it. I cannot. When I say you, I mean me. It affects me. It
mm,
affects it, and that as an artist, it makes me want to build work around that because it helps me to heal, and that would be something where I would just come straight out and be like, again, fuck you and you, because how dare you, so yeah,
mhm, mm.
thank you for that. I sometimes can go on and on and on.
No, this
um,
is great.
yeah, so how do you feel when you are creating work? This is not one of the questions that I sent you, but like, how do you, at the end, do you look at it as one, do you say, look, this is my queer work? Like, do you blast that?
Mm,
Two, do you only look for residencies or opportunities that are openly accepting queer artists' work, or um, are you able to feel like you can apply to anything, whether it's queer or not? And when you are building your work as an artist, do you want people to know that I'm a queer artist, or does it matter?
mm, mhm. When I'll start with the residency question. So I I do look out for residencies that specifically created to queer people, but I also apply to anything. Um, Also because I feel like a lot of residencies in the area generally usually have a statement somewhere that say like queer BIPOC artists are encouraged to apply. So that's usually how I know, like, okay, this may not cater specifically to queer people, but that's fine. Like they're accepting of everybody. They want everybody to apply. So I'll do like the whole scope of residencies to see just where I can get some funding or opportunities. Um, and then when I'm making work, I do like for people to know that I'm a queer artist. Like that just feels so important to me.
Mhm.
And to let people know that.
Can I ask
Um,
why?
why? Because that it's just such a big part of who I am as a person. It's like that's a part of my identity that I've really not necessarily built up, but have over time become more proud of,
Yes.
and like through like the struggles and the things that I faced.
Hmm.
And I just like to know that part of being queer is being shamed about it and being hidden. Like I really want to never feel ashamed about that, especially with the art that I make.
Yes.
So I think that's why it's important, even if the specific art that I'm showing isn't necessarily like rainbows and queerness, like
Hmm.
entirely, like still it was made by me who is queer, and
Yeah.
there's always some element of that, I think, in no matter what I make. So
Okay. Yeah, no, I think what I'm hearing is that it just allows you to again to accept you for who you are, and that's a part of you. And
mhm,
for myself, I have to understand it. And it is a mental battle. I have to tell myself every day, love your body
mm,
as it is. Love the cellulite, love the thick thighs, the big booty, love it. Don't be ashamed of it. And I think that's what I'm hearing of you because I struggle with that. Like I struggle with that. And I
mm,
am starting to realize that I've struggled with that for all of since let's say 10
mm,
to now, and I'm about to be 50. That's a long ass time to be struggling with self-identity,
mm,
right? And
mm,
so I ask that question because I don't necessarily care about people knowing if I'm queer or bisexual, more so whether how do I look on stage? Am I thin enough? Do I look fat? Do I look, you know, frumpy? Do I look so those are the things that what type of costumes do I need to put on to make me look slender? Like those are
mm,
the things that I feel that I want to change about myself.
mm,
Um, and be more along the lines of with what you was just saying that this is me. This is me as a plus size person, and I'm never going to get to be a size 8. If I do, I know it's probably not going to stay because that's just not my body size. So
mm,
being able to be okay that I am a thicker Black woman, and that's just what it is. So it's I wanted to see what your thought process was because I'm also learning how to be okay with who I am,
mm,
even at age that I am. It's yeah, and how I show up and how people see me, even though I continue to say, fuck it, I don't care, because one side of me really don't, but the other side of me really do kind of want to see how people view me, and am I
mm,
am I okay? Like, do they think I'm okay? you know?
mhm, mhm.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. But
Yeah.
I feel that very strongly. There's like the two sides of like I do not care and I care so much.
Right.
Yep. Mhm.
And it's hard sometimes to shut it off, you know, to really tell yourself, just shut it off. Just, you know, don't make a big deal out of it. And so I've been really, really trying to say, own it, own it, just own it, you know, just be okay with who you are, because if you be okay with you, then people, they're gonna, whether they are okay with you or not, it's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be what it is. And you have to walk this world being okay. Because if you don't be okay, then I feel like you're gonna be in a depressed state.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And a person that does not know who they are or do not like them is, I think, how can I explain it? I have the word right on the tip of my tongue, is an accident waiting to happen. Something's going to happen. If you are a person that do not know who you are, do not like yourself, eventually something is going to give. And it might not give in the right way. Right. So yeah. So how do you feel about the state of the world and how they are receiving queerness? And do you feel like it's going to change? Like, how are you, do you feel like it's changing, if it's going to change more, or, you know, or are we like in the process of being doomed forever because people are just going to continue to be shooting people up, having mass shootings or whatever it may be, you know, just, you know, what that hatred that comes out. How do you feel about that? I know this is not one of the questions. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. It's totally fine. I feel like it's, I see different things. Like I see something really good happening, and then I'll turn around and see this awful event. And like specifically surrounding queerness, I'll spend some time feeling as if, you know, we're heading in a good direction. People are turning around, becoming more supportive, more understanding. And then literally moments later, I'll see something like maybe on social media, like a really bad comment or an opinion. And I'm like, wait, what is happening here? I felt like it was getting better. And so I feel like it's kind of like a steps forward, step back, or like however it is getting there, then something happens. And so the optimistic part of me does feel like we are still going up into a better place. But I just don't know how long it'll take for it to really become, you know, better. If it's going to be a struggle, continue to be a struggle for a really long time, probably. But part of me believes that we will get to a place where there's more understanding, more acceptance, and less violence. The process there will probably not be super pleasant, but yes. I have to believe that there is something, or a good, you know, a resolution.
And I think
how I feel.
And I agree with you, because I think that it has changed, just like I was saying, you know, you've seen more on the television, you've seen more, you know, showing up on posters, in the magazines, different things of that nature. And I know that as the younger generation began to go into these like, you know, um, different positions, like the positions, you know, in political positions and different things that is, you know, with like the presidents and CEOs of these different companies, you know, that, you know, seeing more, just like, for example, the lady that stepped into, I don't know her name actually, that stepped into, um, oh my goodness, the one that just passed away, the senator that passed away for the representative of California. I know it's not Barbara Lee, but what is her name? Oh my goodness! And it was an African American that stepped in, and she's queer into the Senate. Why can't I remember the name of the lady that just recently passed away? Oh my goodness. I'm trying to pull it up now. But yeah, let me see, Senate, rep who passed. No, in California. Now we supposed to be knowing this off the top of our tongue. Feinstein, Dianne Feinstein.
Oh.
Yes. So the person, and the person that replaced her is LaFonza Butler. She is, she's queer and she's an African American woman. So seeing those types of change and shifts, I think is also going to help, right? I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Because it is changing, but it's like we take 2 steps forward and then we may take 5 steps back, you know, because of the violence. And then we take another 3 or 4 steps forward and then we take about 8 steps back, you know. So I think that's what it's going to be like, that ebb and flow, you know, that push and pull, that tug of war of being able to see it slowly change, you know. So I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that we are gaining strides, making strides, but then we also have those hurdles that can kind of slow us down a little bit. So yeah. So just, you know, as an artist, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about the work that you're seeing that's coming out right now? How do you feel about other people's art? And do you tend, because I have to admit it, I tend to kind of go on that, oh, their art is better than mine, or oh, why I'm not making that type of art, or should I be making that type of art? Do you ever kind of fall in that type of loophole as an artist?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely those ups and downs of like, wow, this is so amazing. Like I should have already done this. And then coming back or going around and saying, do I actually want to do this?
Yes.
And like really trying to get, you know, because it's like, wow, this is amazing. I should have done this. And then I'm like, wait, I don't, this is not even what I'm interested in creating. The mind just like that sometimes where I'm like, wow, that's so amazing. So I've been trying to like kind of balance out those two extremes of just being like, you know, this is amazing. Like, what can I take from it? How can I just appreciate it for what it is? Um, and then like keep moving. But it's like it's an internal struggle usually. Um, and it's amazing because right now there's so much art and so many shows that are happening now that people are able to do that again. And so it's been really amazing to see what everybody is doing and seeing kind of the scope of what is possible. It kind of helps me visualize like, okay, if they can do that, then I could do this.
Mm-hmm. And you know,
kind
I'm
of going
sorry.
back and thinking about that. And that was good.
I was gonna say, I like how you said, if they can do that, I can do this. Not I can do that too. You know, because sometimes we get into that, oh, I wanna do that. Oh, I think I can do that. You know, so I really appreciate the fact that you said, yeah, I'm not trying to do that, but I'm gonna do this over here. So keeping
Mm-hmm.
that creativity of this is my creativity. I may be influenced, but this is still my path. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Thanks. Yeah, it helps me stay a little like more centered
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. Definitely.
Yeah, that's why I try not to be on social media, because social media is, I'm just gonna call it, it's the devil to me, because I swear it's that little, you know, that good and that bad on my shoulder, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like, you're doing just fine. Stay focused. What the hell? Do what everybody else is doing. You're not doing, no, you're doing just fine. Stay focused. No, you're not. Don't listen to that, you know? So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I just have to, if I'm not plugged in and I can just follow my heart. I scroll though. I do scroll, but not with the community. Scroll, you know, reels. I only scroll like people that I don't even know, right? And sometimes I come across Prince. Prince would say, you know, the art today is not art. Like, I'm a true artist. I know how to make my own music. I sing. I can, you know, I play, I don't know how many instruments. I don't bite nobody's stuff. I'm an original creator, right? And so I am a true artist. The art that's being done right now is synthesized, computer generated. Anybody can be an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he said that he listens to his inner being, like what he feels inside, that allows him to focus and build art. And that's one thing that I have to be true to, is that I get an idea and I have to just go with the idea that I get, and understand that you're doing it for you. And once you put it out there, it's no longer yours. And the people that are going to love it is going to love it. And the people that are going to hate it is going to hate it. And the people that fall in between is going to fall in between. Right. So I have to remember that. So it helps me to balance that tug of war of that good and evil thoughts that I have going on constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, we're coming up on our time. Um, let me see if there's any. Do you have anything that you want to add?
And I don't think so. Not anything off the top of my head.
What are you doing right now? Are you making
What am I doing right
anything?
now?
Yeah. What are you making anything? Are you being premiered anywhere? Are you going to be collaborating with anyone?
Right now I have an idea that I really want to start kind of making, but as of right now, I don't have anywhere for it to be performed or funds to necessarily make it. But I do have some ideas brewing. Hopefully, soon I can start to at least get in the studio and kind of play around with some ideas. But um, yeah, I have an idea for a duet that I really want to make about two queer people, and hopefully happen soon. But
Yeah, well,
that's about
I have this
that's about that.
space in my backyard that I've been really wanting to open up to the public. So if you want to have a showing
Ooh.
for free. It's in Sacramento, but if you want to bring some people and you want to have a showing for free, a little small intimate showing, you are more than welcome to come and utilize my backyard. We will set it up and no charge, and you can have a showing for free. That's an offer. But with that said, have you ever thought about doing site-specific work?
Kind of. It's not really in my scope of what I'm thinking right now. Like choreographing, I have danced in some site-specific work, but right now I guess it's not necessarily one of my interests. But
Okay.
yeah, why'd you ask? I'm curious.
Because I'm trying to think if I've ever done site-specific work. I feel like I have, but I've always wanted to just put like, and I probably, this is the thing about you, how you should follow what's inside of you. That's what's telling you to do. Because I've always wanted to just go to the park or go to the edge of the street or go downtown, push play, and just start dancing. And not even trip off of who's looking, just build work that way and just record it, right? And just be able to say, look, I want to bring the art to you guys. I don't need to have it in a traditional setting. I don't need to have it where, people need to be, oh, yes, I know about you. No, I just want to bring art to the community, so you can walk by, look, almost like people that be standing out there playing their banjo and singing, I'm not even putting a tip cup out there. I just want you to look at me, right? You don't even have to look at me. You can keep going. Just don't spit on me, right? But yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I've always thought about just, going to the park and just going and just, hey, let's move our bodies. Or even if I have something choreographed, let's go out there. And that's one of the things that I'm actually looking to do, is some more site-specific work. So yeah. That's what I was asking.
Nice. That sounds like fun. Yeah, nice.
Cool. Yeah, no boundaries. I think that I like being able to think outside the box, do things outside of what is typically called the norm. People do it all the time, and I just feel like that's so free. It's being free, So and especially like to those that are like homeless, bring the art to them. Because they're still, all of those people are not drug addicts. All of those people are not strung out. All of those people they're not evil people. They just don't have anywhere to stay. So let's bring art to them. I think they're deserving of art. That's my thought process.
Right.
So that's really what I would love to do. Go to those and some
more
of the encampments. Yeah. And just be bare minimal. Like come with your costume, have someone that's gonna just hold the camera, and we do like a 2 minute to 3 minute and go. I am, I'm not saying like a full blown show, but just something to where, just enough to give you guys a show and then push on, because I don't want you to think about taking my shit. But yeah.
Right.
Because you still have to know that they are out there, the ones that are not 100% on the up and up. But those are the things. That's the only reason why. That's the only reason why I was asking, because I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Have you applied for any grants?
Yes. I've been, well, not more like, since a lot of grants require like a fiscal sponsorship status. So a lot of them I haven't been able to apply to. So I guess I'm also trying to think about fiscal sponsorship, but I've been applying to a lot of performance opportunities through residencies recently.
Okay. Well, always remember, independent arts and media, they don't ask for anything but an application to become a fiscal sponsor of yours. And most of the time it's just, you're asking for them to fiscally sponsor a project that you are looking to do. So maybe that duet, go to artsandmedia.net, I think it is, and look at the application and see if you may want to, apply. I think, I'm not sure, but I think Intersection for the Arts may ask for a fee. And I'm not sure if they're taking anybody. And also Dancers Group, they do fiscal sponsors too. You can see, but I don't know if they're taking anyone. But yeah, I know independent arts, the people that I'm with, Lisa Berger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're always accepting applications.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, and cash grant, you can always apply to cash grant, and you don't need a fiscal sponsor for cash grant, and that's the Dancers Group.
Oh.
Okay. And then I think,
perfect.
Yeah, and MAPS, I just ran across MAPS, and MAPS, they have a grant that will fund up to $1,200 for individual artists. And I'm not sure if they, if you need a fiscal sponsor with them, but that's also a grant that you can possibly apply for. So, MAPS.
You said?
Yes, MAPS. Okay. Yeah. So just wanted to connect and see what's going on. I like to also just do a touch base with those that have gone through our programs before. Do you teach class?
I teach like kids, not so I teach kids like K through 12, but I don't teach like open classes or like adult classes.
Oh, have you ever thought about it, or is that would you be open to that?
Yeah, I'm open to that.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Because we also have our body work, excuse me, that's not the name of it, body rock workshops that we give. And so when we do have our funding, we pay our artists. So the class can be free to the public. But we then say that you can donate whatever you choose to donate to the teacher. But we would like to, Bahia Movement likes to be able to pay the instructor up front. What I've been doing with Josue is I've been helping to build his, because he's in the same boat as you. He only teaches to the youth. So I wanted to start giving him opportunity to teach to adults. So, he has some footage. I don't know why my Zoom hasn't been working that well. But if you're, I'm just opening it up to you. If you ever thought about, or if you ever want to do it, I would be more than happy. Right now, my funding, I'm waiting for the funding, so I wouldn't be able to pay you. But once I get funding, if you're still interested, I can swing back around and see if you're interested in being one of our instructors.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Just let me know.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. So what I'm going to do, just FYI, some of the connections was not 100%. So it glitched out a little bit on some of your responses, but I will send you the copy right now once I download it. Hopefully I can send it to you, and I might have to upload it to YouTube and then send you the link. but I want you to have the recording of the interview for your records. Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions? I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Maya Mohsin. Did I say your name right? I'm so sorry. Say your last name again for me.
Mohsin.
Mohsin. Okay, Mohsin. Okay. Thank you, Miss Maya Mohsin, for coming to Bahia Movement Zoom Corner and chatting with us about queer.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Yes, chatting about queerness and plus sizeness and what's going on in the world. I enjoyed my time with you, and all the best on everything that you're doing and your future endeavors. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you for the support, for having me
Yep.
here today. It was a really nice time.
I'm so glad. And I will keep you posted. Okay?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. All right.
Yay.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, you too. Bye.